Harambe Radio and Television Network. Welcome to Live in the Spirit with Brother Wali, also known as Wallace the Motivator Durham. Now, you've just tuned into www.haramberadio.com, or you dialed in on our conference at 1-805-309-0111. And tonight will be monumentous for you. That excerpt, a clip from the movie a lot of you know as The Matrix. And tonight, we will be seeking the truth. We will be uncovering it, speaking truth to power, and giving you some much-needed wisdom as well. Again, family, if you've told friends and those that you love, please have them be ready to entertain questions in our second half hour, probably last 15 minutes of the show, because tonight it's going to be great for you to be not only tamed with the wisdom, but informed greatly as well. Now, a little bit about our special guest for the evening. This is a native New Yorker, our great sister, who now lives on the West Coast. A child prodigy, prolific writer, poet, and creative genius are just a few of the terms used to describe Sophia Stewart. Now, she went into the City University of New York, received her Bachelor of Arts degree in journalism, and, of course, minored in law and psychology. Now, she also served for television at the public broadcasting station WNET-13, where she worked with Oscar-winning film documentary producer Perry Miller Adato. Her graduating class was honored with special letter citation from then-President Jimmy Carter. Now, in 1979, her love and skills for writing motivated her to move from New York to Los Angeles, where she studied cinema at the University of Southern California. Now, family, she's a gifted writer, visionary, and also worked for individual celebrities who include former Knick player Dick Barnett, Louis Gossett Jr., and Shelley Winters. Her background is diverse, and many of her writings reflect the groundbreaking literature that is undeniable before its time. We'll be concentrating on a lot of that today from her 1981 epic and classic, The Third Eye. She is called affectionately to most of us as the mother of the Matrix. I introduce to some and present to others our sister, Sophia Stewart. Welcome back to Harambe, my sister.
Thank you very much. Appreciate being here again.
Well, sister, we had, first of all, it's our pleasure to have you. And it was about 4 or 5 years ago that I heard you on another show on Harambe, and I said, I got to have an archive of that, because she's speaking to truth, what a lot of people don't know about your story and journey. It was great talking to you, of course, both of us being out of the Boogie Down Bronx and sharing some of the same areas, especially around the Tracy Towers, and you, of course, with Co-op City. So that was good to know that the tie-ins will be greatly understood about where we're going tonight. And there's a lot to discuss, and I want to thank again not only the Harambe Radio and Television Network as part of what we do here in Raising Consciousness, but Brother Dub Deuce the Poet for reacquainting you with Harambe, and of course our CEO and founder, Brother Delani Amon, for making this all happen. In our first hour, sister, since we're going to do part 2 next week, and I appreciate you agreeing to this, there's a lot about your journey that a lot of people really still don't know. A lot of people have seen the Matrix and Terminator series and think that it's a classic of what Hollywood has done, but they don't know your journey to the fact that this is your baby. I think in your books there's a lot for people to know, and in the book, The Third Eye, that lends itself to this, especially the African-centered nature of it, the characters, the signs and symbols, and how it, matters to you how this story gets out. Before we really get into the law part of it and the legal battles that you went through, let the family know the genesis of the Third Eye and how that information, and which became outformation to us, presented itself to people, and how you can show and prove that it's intertwined with the Matrix and, of course, the Terminator series.
Yeah, I wanted people to know that I wrote The Matrix and Terminator. When you look at the 6 movies in chronological order, is obvious and very obvious and clear to people. People who have read the Third Eye book and the Matrix 4 book, because I'm continuing the saga. Matrix 4 is the fourth installment of the Matrix. And, of course, the Terminator is the prequel to the Matrix. In other words, anybody looking at the word Matrix, Matrix is Latin for womb. And in the King James Bible, Matrix is mentioned 5 times as Latin for womb, meaning the children coming out of the womb are born of a woman. That's the portal of creativity. That's the birthing. That's where you receive the soul. Because man became so knowledgeable on earth that he actually started creating his own children. And they're here. Test tube babies and clones and petri dish children and artificial insemination. And these are born without souls because man created this. Technology created these children, which you can look upon them as actually machines. And that's why a lot of times when you hear people on the phone and you're trying to talk to them, sometimes you don't know if you're talking to a human being or a machine. And so, yeah, a lot of times you're asked, because they don't have any kind of emotional content, no comprehension. It's like you even have to ask several different times, and they're not comprehending what you are talking about. Because I've talked to a person who's had experiences with clones, and he said there was no emotional connection. But anyway, I want to go back to the prequels where the Terminator is the prequel to the Matrix, and that Sarah Connor is really Neo's mother, and that when you go to the Terminator, the microchip, naked without shame cyborg is coming from the future, from the machine planet, to take out the woman, Sarah Connor, who's going to have the baby, Neo, which is Neo is just an anagram or a sneaky way of calling him the one, Neoone. So John Connor, JC, Jesus Christ, grows up to be Neo in the Matrix. And when he reaches 30 years of age, that's when the revolution or the rebellion started. And this is where the rebels come in to look for him, because if you remember in the Terminator movies, he's hidden out in the city. He doesn't even know what's going on. The mother doesn't even know what's going on or why these microchip cyborgs are trying to kill her. Now, there is no way in the world any of these white old science fiction writers could have written Matrix or Terminator. I'm talking about Harlan Ellison or any of them, because they were still dealing with H.G. Wells' old metal clankety clank. I was born in the digital age, and so therefore I'm talking about microchips, and I'm talking about a clone, naked microchip, naked without shame. No one had ever seen anything like that ever on any movie screen. Because what I wrote was the second coming of Christ, not the first coming by those authors in the Bible, but the second coming, which Revelation says that Christ is going to come back in the future. And I imagine this nanotechnology that would be dominating and enslaving mankind on the earth in the future. And guess what? My vision was correct, because that's what's going on right here, right now. All these programs and these legal slavery, that's right. And when I'm talking about your prison systems and your jail, it's nothing but legalized slavery. And then the judicial system doesn't even care if you're innocent or guilty, because they're making millions and billions of dollars off of everybody that is in prison in that system. And it's these judges and these lawyers and politicians and people of substance who own these prison systems, and they are harvesting all the people out here that don't have any knowledge of what's going on or have no knowledge of law, because ignorance is what puts you there. It doesn't matter if you know what's going on or you don't know. Ignorance could put you there, and a lack of money. being poor and not being able to protect yourselves. And they got all these programs and all these illusions to distract you so you can't see the truth of what's really going on in this world. And history is even made up. That is no real history. You knew that Columbus didn't discover America. You knew that the world was always round. You could look at the world and see it's round. It never looked squared. All of these programs as to who discovered what, and just a bunch of lies. In school, when you come out of the womb, you know the things of God. You know of nature, you know truth. But what happens, they don't want you to keep that truth. Once you enter school, they break up and tear down all the knowledge of God out of you and install programs in you. They actually brainwash you during school. That's why they're very, very careful into what books they select, because those are what the programs they need to put and to install into you. And they own the media. The FCC violated you guys, and you guys didn't even know that because they were not supposed to let the studios own all the media, because a man that owns the media gets to shape your life, gets to tell you what to buy, what you should think, and what you should have on the earth. And you have no idea that the man who owns the media is actually running your life every day. Programming you. And you could tell a program because you just hear the program from other people. There are no original thoughts. They don't want any original inventors or creativity because they will steal it. As soon as any original ideas come out or any original creativity comes out and you put a patent in, they buy up all the patents so nobody can challenge the program. Why, ask yourself, are we in 2014 and we're still doing stuff like back in the old days of 20 years ago? I mean, listen, we've still got oil, fossil fuel, which is oil, and there's all kinds of inventions that have come and gone, and no one being the wiser because these people are dead or missing in action, and their patents are bought off. Just so that man can retard the progress here and keep a certain way of life and keep ignorance abound. But progress is going to change that because progress has changed, and God says that everything must change. Nothing can remain the same, and that if you don't change, then you're just completely ran on out, and you are obsolete, and you have to leave the earth. And this is what a lot of them don't even understand. The horse and buggies had their heyday. The cars came in. The people complained about the cars, and they were too noisy and stuff like that. But the cars have their way, and the horse and buggies had to leave. There's a time and a place for everything. And in Ecclesiastes in the Bible, God tells you that. There's a time for everything. And then when that time is no longer utilized, then it has to leave. And right now what's going on, the studios are fighting me because Matrix 4 should have been on the screen 2 years ago. Everybody out there that read Matrix 4 know that I've just put the next nanotechnology that's 20 years up the road, and that's what's got to come on the screen to prepare people for the holograms and holographic world that you're going to be encountering, the new technology that's going to be dominant on the earth, and the virtual penal systems, virtual skateboards, and just virtual things, period. A holographic world and clones and all kinds of new nanotechnology, the hovercrafts, and all kind of things that you need to get prepared for, and that's what my work has done. It has actually elevated the consciousness, shifted consciousness of the people so they can understand the future. And if it was That's right. If it was left up to the studios, you guys would still be dummy down with the Three Stooges, the Smurfs, the Chipmunks, Scooby-Doo, and Godzilla. I think they would still be using the same programs over and over. So you can't go into the future. You can't make any changes. You can't create if you're stuck in the past. Every man that looks into the past is dead, because you have to live fully in the now, and you have to look forward to the future. But to look backwards is to be like Lot's wife, is to turn into a pillar of salt.
Exactly.
And then I'm talking about in Matrix 4, the new virtual penal system that's coming upon the earth. Everyone needs to be prepared for this, because there's going to be no more buildings the way you know buildings, the way we know buildings to be. And jobs. There are going to be no jobs out here. All the jobs are going to be on the Internet. And you need to start moving towards the Internet and building your businesses. I'm going to have the first virtual movie theaters. And I'm going to make a deal with Apple iTunes. And I'm going to go over to Dubai and use their high HD studios and film The Matrix, and come back over and make a deal with Apple, because there are 5 billion mobile devices on the earth. 5 billion mobile devices. We're talking about we're talking about iPhones, iPads, tablets, drones, iPods. We're talking about droids. We're talking about smartphones. We're talking about a whole nother world of digital downloading and pay-per-view streaming and Netflix and Redbox and Hulu, and I could go on and on and on. And there's just this 5 billion devices. I make this deal with iTunes, with Apple, and I charge $10 a download, and it's 5 billion mobile devices. That's $50 billion, and I didn't even need any overhead. I didn't need any buildings. I didn't need any studios. I didn't need any workers. And I could have filmed the movie with my iPhone because it's HD.
Well, let me ask you this, sister.
Cameraman.
Let me ask you this, because I see that because of the wealth of knowledge you have, and a lot of people, when we're talking as metaphysical as you are, a lot of people don't know that third eye, not only the book, but when we're talking about having the vision to even see this, those of us who are in the conscious community who continuously talk about, not only on Harambe, but in our circles, we talk about how the government and media and tonation and inflections is going to get people to genuflect. They're not knowing, and I do appreciate that you sent Dub and I copies of The Matrix 4 so we could peruse it. But a lot of people don't know that a lot of things that are happening virtually that are in your phone, your iPhone, in your iPad, on your Facebook, but you're forgetting who the I am is, the person, the human who is in oneness. And a lot of people who are not familiar with astral projection, which you talk about, they won't understand the levels of where you're going by knowing the history of what has happened to people, not only virtually, by being enslaved, but by not paying attention to the changing times. A lot of people are jumping into technology. In your series of The Matrix and the Terminator that deals with the machines, and again, we're talking 30-plus years ahead of its time, people now are in it, stuck in the Matrix, so to speak, but they're not paying attention to what's happening with their own DNA. And a lot of times I say on my show to people to go back Sankofa, go back to the African origins of where we are so you don't lose yourself in the wave of information that's being put before you and you just roll with it like a gerbil on a wheel. How much of what you've written for our people who do pay attention to the African ancestry of what's going on, not only technically, but spiritually, where you have a deep resonance of energy from? The African tie-in to our people, how has that resonated for people who may miss that part of it, where we, the African-centered ones, can see that in not only your past work, but your work to come?
Well, everybody knows that the ancient civilization of Kemet or ancient Egypt and Africa is the cradle of civilization. It's the cradle of life. And that's all in my work because I'm talking about digital downloading and barcodes and body scanners and food scanners and computerized work here with the drones where Trinity tells Hank to download it so she can fly the helicopter. Microchips. I'm talking about all this 33 years ago, and the Illuminatis and the Masons and the Trilateral Commission. It's all there, and the hieroglyphics, the numbers that you see running down in the Matrix. All of that is right over there in ancient Egypt or Kemet, and anybody can go over there and film it and see where it came from. And that whole civilization is black. Black civilization with knowledge. UFO technology. That's right. Alien knowledge, alien technology, and it's in our DNA. It is not something that people can learn or people can just steal it. It's in our DNA, and it has a lot to do with the woman named Loretta Lack. That's when the scientists broke the genome and they started extracting knowledge from her DNA. Because she had the living DNA, the living double helix that would not die, that kept producing even though her body was gone. And they don't talk about this. They didn't even want to give her family any money. They were making billions of dollars off of her living DNA, her living helix, the double helix. You know what I'm talking about, DNA. Her genes, her cells. So
exactly.
It goes all the way back to us, and it's in our DNA. So when people say that they don't believe a black woman wrote the Matrix, that's ignorance, because my skin didn't write anything. A skin color doesn't do anything. It has another particular purpose, just like your tongue has a purpose, your fingers, your eyes, your heart, your blood, your tongue. Everything upon your body has a purpose. But it was my brains that wrote the Matrix and Terminator, and the brains have no color. If you take my brains out of my body and other people's brains out of their bodies and put them on the table, you can't tell which brain came out of what body. Inside all of the bodies, unless you're a clone or you're something else, you got the same type of insides. And so for all the people out there that's got this big hang-up on colors, color has not a damn thing to do with your DNA. I'm sorry, but somebody needs to tell you the damn truth. It has not a damn thing to do with your DNA and who you really are. Because your DNA tells exactly who you are and where you come from. Just like that Ku Klux Klanman just found out. He thought he was white because he had a white body, but he found out he had black blood. That was his DNA and his genes speaking. And until people check out their DNA, they don't even know who they are, where they come from. And all these skin colors ain't going to mean nothing at the end of, in the end here in a minute. Because it's not even about that. All knowledge comes through our genes and our DNA. All creativity, DNA, genes, who we are. And scientists are just now beginning to understand all of that. They put all this ignorance and distractions and illusions and programs to separate you guys so you guys wouldn't figure out the truth. It's almost just like the Tower of Babel in the Bible, when all these people were trying to build a throne up above, or trying to reach the throne of God, or make their way up into the heavens, and then all their languages got changed so they couldn't communicate or understand each other, so they couldn't accomplish that deed or that feat. Well, that's what's going on here on Earth. All of these programs and distractions, and it's called mathematics, subtraction and division. That's what's separating you. That's why you can't get anything right. That's why you can't figure nothing out. because you're bickering and fighting over ignorance and division and subtraction, that if you came together, you could truly see who the enemy really is. And the enemy
and that's where you are the champion of that with, and I want to get into it for a few minutes, on that legal side of where you saw they were trying to divide you from your work, from the series that you wrote, from the origin of this, The Third Eye, which became blockbusters with The Matrix and The Terminator, well, The Terminator and The Matrix, if you want to talk about order. Tell the family, those who still have some deluded ideas about how that went for a few minutes, my sister, because I do want to entertain a couple of calls or two before show's end. Let the family know how the legal precedents in short form helped you to at least let people know this black woman, this sister, is not asleep, stuck in the matrix, so to speak, and you were going to defend your work, which isn't plagiarism on their part. They outright stole it. Break that down to the family so they could at least feel a little bit of where you're coming from in this ongoing pursuit for justice.
I just cannot even believe that people, who are in ignorance, and ignorance is not a bad word. It's just, if you look at the word ignorance, it has ignore in there. People are ignoring facts that they should know. The fact that The Matrix is the first black science fiction with black superheroes in leadership roles. I mean, something that should inspire all of your little kids to become even like Obama, President of the United States. So why would you take that from yourself and give it to somebody who wants to enslave you? Writer, science fiction writer, when he writes a science fiction movie, there are no black people except maybe one or two, and they die after the first 10 or 20 minutes. So I don't even understand that when somebody has stolen something, it's like they've stolen your car. There's no plagiarizing. It's straight out theft. If somebody comes over to your house and steals your car, you don't need a judge to give it back to you. When you go to court, it's for damages. It's for restitution. And some people think that judges give people stuff back. No. When I went to court, it was a civil RICO case because I wanted to send a message to some people out there in Hollywood to stop stealing because we had the best diversity of movies when Hollywood was buying it from the people, and then somebody came up with this clever idea, let's steal it. It's like the same concept, with marriage. If somebody can get something for free or get some free milk, why marry if you can get some free, free milk and free something free? So it's the same process. If somebody steals something from you, you don't need nobody to tell you the VIN number, the title of ownership. You already have that. You're very familiar with theft because you dealt with it in school. When somebody stole your shoes, stole your Nike, stole your coat, stole your books or whatever, stole your girlfriend, stole your wife, stole your house. And it's all the same thing. This is why if you go to court, you go to trial, and the jury hears your evidence, you're going to win because everybody on earth is used to the knowledge of theft. Except when Hollywood which owns all the media, started to program your mind, they put out all this stuff, garbage into Time magazine and all of this fallacy on the internet, talking about me being a fraud and it's not true and that I didn't win anything. They've told you guys so many lies that all you had to do is stop for one moment and just examine the evidence and look at the real picture. I'm selling products and books around the entire world. You can't go and steal somebody else's work or copyright and sell it. The feds will come and arrest you. Just like they went over to New Zealand and arrested Kim, KIM.com. And anybody's interested in that story, go to YouTube, 60 Minutes on YouTube, the Kim.com story, where they went all the way over to New Zealand, the Department of Justice here in America, and got him and froze his bank account and took his expensive cars because there's supposed to be no extradition laws of extraditing anybody to America from New Zealand. But that didn't stop the government here in America. They went over there and made a deal. James Cameron went and got him a farm over there or a ranch or something, thinking that he can get away from the theft because he's nothing but a thief and stolen from numerous of people. And so was Bernie Madoff, straight up a thief, stolen millions and billions of dollars, and you see his old buddies in prison, and he was stealing from the rich. He wasn't stealing from any poor people. The rich doesn't steal from poor people. They steal from the rich. That's how they get richer. You know what I'm saying? Blatant thieves. Because if you got some creative genius that's worth a lot of money, then you are rich. That's what creativity and having genius gifts is about. You're rich. You're going to keep creating. You're going to keep making money because your gift, your genius is what makes that. So every great painter, every great sculptor or architect or ball player or sports player, with these gifts, they're just always going to make money. Or great singers. And as long as they're alive on the earth, they're going to keep producing and creating and making money. So this is what they're trying to steal or stealing from people, creativity, and they don't create anything. If they could, Hollywood could create something, they wouldn't have to steal it. It's about writing, phenomenal, great writers, people who write books, people who write stories, people who write. And when they go, the writers go on strike, Hollywood has to pull out the Chipmunks, the Smurfs, the Three Stooges for you guys, Scooby-Doo. They got to give you some old programs. If they could do it and they could create, then they wouldn't have to steal it or buy it.
Now, you, sister, right, I understand that you still have some levels of legality that you still are involved in. And I know you being a paralegal, having a legal background, I know there's enough truth in that you could say what you think is necessary, and then I'll entertain a call or two. But I think maybe they underestimated you, the writer, by looking at your work and didn't know that you would come back with the talent that you did to challenge what they did. And even Wachowski wanted them. Now Larry went to Lana, and he even turned himself to the other side, because now he's transgendered, because he thought it was necessary for whatever reason, maybe even with the series, help pay for his sex change. So some of the ills of those who choose to steal our works, and those who, even when you were doing what you did to trademark the name, The Matrix now, and even the fact that you will continue to be able to put together works like this, like The Matrix 4. I think the underestimating of you and your talent did them a disservice, because now, knowing that you will continue on and reap not only the profits of all future works and whatever happens to the other case as it's still in lieu, I believe this is a testament to people to know about our struggle continuously. If they would look at Ida B. Wells, and even Madam C.J. Walker was the first black female millionaire. A lot of people, I think, have underestimated the black woman as far as her talents, and we know all too well many stories, especially aforementioned, of us who can continue to put on paper and in film the creative genius that we all have, and maybe some of the black directors in the future can get together with you with some technical geniuses to produce continuous series that you would put pen to paper to make this reality, not just something that's guesswork, but they see your creative genius and they can help do that. That's what I see, and I could name numerous black directors, but maybe the talent, and Doug and I were talking about this, to put that together would be the challenge, to put the technical side of what you wrote in the brilliant script to make sure that the visual comes out on screen, and we know that takes millions, but it's well worth it.
Yeah, well, I've talked to a lot of the black directors, and what the problem is in Hollywood, they will not give a black director $150 million. The directors are over the budget of the films. A lot of people don't know that. And they will not, as you can see, a white woman won Best Director over a black male. And there are no black male directors who ever won an Oscar. It took 82 years for a white woman to win, not just a woman, period, just 82 years. Because in the category, all white males have won for 81 years. And then all of a sudden, they still didn't want to give it to a black male director. In fact, it was a black male director going up against Catherine Bigelow, and they gave it to the white woman instead. So they didn't want to give any money for any black movies. That's why Red Tail, George Lucas, who married his black girlfriend, had to put his own money because they wouldn't even give a white man any money for a black movie. The Weinsteins were doing with Lee Daniels, The Butler, and it took 30 producers and $30 million to get that movie off the ground. So they will not give. And Don Cornelius, the late Don Cornelius, who was a very good friend of mine, I go way back with him in the 80s. He offered me a job at Channel 11. I met a lot of the Soul Train people and his assistants and all the people there working with him. Dick Barnett, former New York Knicks, was good friends, and he introduced us, hooked us up. And Don Cornelius wanted me to do the Soul Train movie. And I wrote, of course, a movie treatment for the Soul Train movie. And was very interested in doing the project, but they wouldn't even give him any money to do the Soul Train movie. I know this blows a lot of people's minds, but I'm telling you guys the truth. There are a lot of numerous black people who have approached me and have approached others for the Madam C.J. Walker story, and a lot of other black people who should be recognizable, should have a movie done on them. And they will not give any money to do this. This is why I said that people of color and black people need to band together and start putting money into their own selves, into their own pockets, into their own economy and their own projects and things that they want to do. They need to come together. This is 2014. This is a new day, a new age. And what's going on now, you need to come together and work together and stop all of the dissensions and the problems and put all that aside and come together and create. Because there are phenomenal technical writers out there, people of color, and just phenomenal gifted technicians and cameramen and all kinds of people of color that have extraordinary gifts, and thousands of them have approached me over the years. But they don't have no outlet to go. Hollywood is the gay mafia, so they don't put their friends in. The Academy is sold out now. They just got a buddy system. But
I believe it. I believe it.
Earth.
Now we talk about that.
Yeah, because if you get... Go ahead.
No, they have that veil, that almost that invisible hand, and how movies get green lighted, and a lot of people don't know that green light in the movie, giving it the okay to get through, so they'll let, Tyler Perry get through with the Medea chain, but somebody writing something of consciousness and depth has to be really dissected before it gets put out there. And here's what I know a lot of my family wants to do, and if you don't mind, good sister, because we got part 2 next week. Please know this, family. Sister Sophia Stewart has agreed to come on next week. This type of show really deserves 2, maybe even 4 hours. But what I want to do, if you don't mind, sister, is entertain a call or two. I know a lot of people are chomping at the bit, not only to congratulate you for your continuous fight, but more so for your work. The fight is one thing, that's the back end, but the work on the front end is greatly appreciated by those who read your books and those who've seen the movie series and know that Champion of Truth is coming regardless. If we can, Delani, we can unmute the phones, and
The conference is now in conversation mode.
And if you don't mind, my sister, I'm sure 1 or 2 of our guests would like to ask you a question, and we could see maybe what's on the mind of our people out there in the Harambe Radio and Television Network that would love to give you some of their love as well. Any caller, if you're willing to go ahead and talk to our sister, ask a question, I'm sure she'll be able to answer it regarding the subject matter tonight. And I'm sure our family's not that shy because you've broken it down to the depths. And we can, of course, continue on speaking, but I wanted to give at least a caller or two these last 15 minutes. Is there anybody? Because I could let Sister continue to open up, and we'll close out this first hour and go into next week. Anybody, even our producer, if he had anything to say congratulating our sister? I know he's in the background, but anybody before I let Sister continue on?
Hello, hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can, Sister. Who's speaking?
Hi, Shalom Alaikum, Assalamu Alaikum, Hotep. My name is Elanit, and I'm a friend of I'm a friend of Sophia's, and I just want to congratulate her while she's on the line. I want you to know, Sophia, I am extremely proud of you. I lean on you to show our people the way to fight back, because Sophia has always told me the power and strength that her grandmother gave her, and told her to look people in the eye and don't let them lie on you. And Sophia, that's a very important point for you to teach our people, because we have been bullied for so long with the Willie Lynch syndrome, with the vestiges of slavery, that we are afraid sometimes to even stand up, even when we know that we are right. So if you could just stress that to our people, because we've been so downtrodden, we don't even know that we are no longer the tail, but we are the head.
Yes, thank you so much, and you're absolutely right. A lot of people just don't even know how to rise up, and I try to tell everybody that they don't need to go to buildings anymore. That just like Bill Gates said, that there should be a computer in every home, that this is going to be our new reality and our new future, that we should open up our businesses online. There are billions of customers out there. There are 7 billion people on Earth, 7 billion. Facebook by itself have 1 billion people on there alone. And you can advertise your business. They got a Facebook on web.com, Facebook page, that can advertise your online business and bring people to your business. So you can open up, go to movie theaters, you can sell videos, you can sell audio books, you can sell merchandising and all kinds of companies with no overhead, and you can tie in with Amazon, PayPal, Apple, iTunes, Ingram, Creative Space. I mean, there are just tons of stuff out there online, many other companies, Ingram, that you can go into and sell your work, sell your merchandising, and advertise on these social networks. Tweeters have over 500 million people. LinkedIn have over 300 million people. I mean, the internet is a small world. IBM and Xerox went out of business because they didn't know what a mouse was. But Microsoft and Apple are billion-dollar corporations. Apple is almost $500 billion. So I think the last time I saw it, they were at $465 billion.
Well, let me say this, Sister, real quick. For any of our listeners who's listening, who's not engaging in the conversation, you may hit *6. We have a little background noise. I know, Sister, if anybody has this phone on speaker as well, that will give us a background feed. So anybody who's not going to participate, please hit *6 so we could at least hear our sister clearly, because this information is definitely one for the ages. I just wanted to let that be known, Sister, because every now and then in radio, especially internet, you know, when we have a conference, we may have background noise, so I wanted to let you know if you hear that, it could be somebody who has their line open and maybe doing something in the background. So *6 your phone, please, family, and you can continue on your point, sister, and then we can entertain another call before we close out.
Oh, I was just telling people that now they can bring their business to the Internet. They can sell any and all products. They can create products. There's manufacturers. There are distributors like PayPal and Amazon and other ones that can distribute the money, and you can make money. It's a new day. You don't have to go out of your house and go to work anymore. I mean, you can go online, start your own business, and these social networks can connect you. And it's just a new day, a fabulous new day that we all can make money. And we got 7 billion people on Earth to make some money with.
Right.
And a majority of these people are on the Internet, which are looking for your goods and your products and who you are. You should not go with the same old programs, because those things are going out. They're the horse and buggies. They had their heyday, and now they're on their way out. The studios are on their way out to the thrift stores. They're cutting. They're in trouble now. They're cutting. They're not making any money off of movies because there's a whole new distribution system. And my work put them out of business. They stole my work and put it out, and there's no way in the world they could have wrote The Matrix and Terminator, or they wouldn't have given me the Internet. That is ludicrous. Ludicrous. Totally ludicrous.
Well, you know what, sister, because of your genius and because of that talent, and again, people don't know about pioneering works, and I always say this, and I even wrote it in my first book as part of the foreword. I said, what if it was you? People don't see if they're on the other side of having their work stolen and having an idea and a creativity that somebody's taken, whether it's Elvis Presley with the Chuck Berry and the Little Richard and the Beatles coming to do what they do. When people see that we are the original creators of science, mathematics, the medicine, and we know these things are forthright and true, yeah, they're going to steal. Stolen Legacy is about that altogether. What I want to do is entertain another call before we give you some time, sister, to give all your contact information. Even though you're coming on for part 2, you may have a caller or two who may want to contact you in some form or way. Any other caller want to come on and ask our sister a question or give her any praises or anything about tonight's show as we work again towards progress and prepare for next week? Any additional caller with a comment or question?
Yes,
yes, Brother Hamza.
Oh, okay, but I heard another voice. Was that a sister's voice?
No, I heard a man's voice.
Oh, it's a man's voice. Okay.
That's Brother Prince. It's you and Brother Prince on at the same time. You brothers can flip a coin and decide who wants to go. It's all good.
Well, I'll have a chance next week. So out of that, I'll just simply thank the sister. I have some substantive questions I prepared for, but I'm looking forward to the exchange. So brother, go right on, brother.
Go ahead, Brother Prince. Welcome again to Harambe, brother. You always a staple on the air. Appreciate you being here.
Yeah, I just got in right now, and I just tuned into the show. I was out, and so I didn't get a chance to really hear the majority of the show, but I just want to give Sister Sophia Stewart a heads up, a thumbs up, or 2 thumbs up, not a 100, but 200, for all her work. I mean, I respect you, I admire you, and I mean, you are an icon, you know what I mean, in this society where we, as a people, blacks and browns, man, really need more enforcement towards our culture and our scientific, inventive creativity and writing and poetry now more than ever before. And so I highly respect you. You know, at one time I was really trying to reach out to you on Facebook, but I guess you were probably too busy. I was on your friends list, and I know you're a busy individual, busy person. So, but much respect. And we all know that all the creativity of science, invention, mathematics, came from the pyramids. You know what I mean? From the pyramids to the projects and back. So as it was in the beginning, so shall it be in the end.
Yeah, well, I was going to tell you, I would get thousands and thousands of mail. And it's impossible for me to answer thousands and thousands of mail. would go through as much as I could, and there's other people who are working my social networks for me. So, and I still get like tons of mail. I am totally kind of overworked. Plus, like the brother was telling you, that I do a lot of my legal work. I just canceled Warner Brothers out on the trademark into the Matrix video game, and I copyrighted it. I own the copyrights to it. I own the copyrights to the Animatrix. I own the copyrights to the Matrix and the Terminator. So I've got copyrights to that. Anybody who wants to see them and the images. So I've been like taking all of my stuff away from them. And all anybody has to do is, once you got copyright and someone make a derivative of your copyrighted work, all you have to do is take your children back by giving them birth certificates. It's called a copyright.
Right.
All you got to do is turn it, flip it back around on them, and go and copyright the derivatives. And they're not going to say anything. A thief is not going to go to the police. They're not going to file no lawsuit because they would have to prove that you stole it from them. And it's just not going to work out for them. So anybody who wants to learn how to get their stuff back, they need to contact me. And let me give you proof that it's mine and I've taken it back. And you can go to my website, matrixterminator.com. One word, matrixterminator.com. I'm selling physical books and ebooks. And on Amazon.com, for people who are in foreign countries, you can get the physical book from Amazon, but you can get the ebook from my website, matrixterminator.com. Let me help you empower yourself so you can take back what belongs to you.
Correct.
You can take back anything that was ever stolen from you. I can show you how to flip the script. You don't have
that is so key, sister.
You don't have to fight. You just have to use knowledge and flip the script and take it, and their mouths will be on the ground.
Indeed. Is that the only contact for you, sister? MatrixTerminator.com, because in the last 2 minutes, what I want to make sure, because next week, again, I want our family to know, as we get prepared for Sister Gwen Mack, who I know probably was listening to some of the show. I want to thank again Brother Dub Deuce the Poet for not only reconnecting with you, again, Brother Delani Aman, my big brother Hamza Sid Catlett Bay, and of course, this good brother Alberto Prince Perez, who's on the line now as well. We all are in communication, Sister Stewart. This is a consciousness-raising radio station and family. We do this on the regular, but to have you on tonight, again, is monumentous. You're no stranger to Harambe. Neither will you be in the future. What I want to do is, again, say thank you on behalf of what I am as a spiritual brother to you, all the brothers and sisters who are listening on the line, especially my good sister who called in, who definitely gave the greetings to you. These are people that keep you fighting, sister, because your fight isn't over, even after you've continued on with Matrix 4 and beyond, with books, with video games, with animation, whatever you do. We will know that in our midst stood a sister who stood for justice, righteousness, and perseverance. So I'm thanking you on behalf of that, and next week at the same time won't be a problem, will it, sister?
No, it will not be a problem. I want people to know I've won numerous awards. I got the Rosa Parks Award in 2005 from the NAACP, Done Speaking Engagements. I got an Empowerment Award from the Las Vegas Music Awards in 2006. Rutgers University Women's in Media Award, March the 9th, 2013, and a LinkedIn Award being in the top 1% of the most viewed profile out of 200 million people. So, and the Oneness Award, the same one that Muhammad Ali and Princess Diana got in 2007. So I've got numerous awards. There are people around the world, politicians and all kinds of senators and mayors who understand that I wrote the Matrix. And you guys need to have pride in yourself, because there's great creativity that I have inside of me is inside of each and every one of you. Bring it out, protect it, and then when somebody tries to take it from you, take it back. It is yours, and there's nothing anybody can do about that.
That's right.
There you go. And guess what, sister? On that note, as we all climb to reaching that third eye, and I know you got some of that good old school in you, You know where this is going. You know that the cosmic understanding of what developed your talent develops in us all. We have to reach out for that third eye. And next week, I want to talk about a little of the genesis of the third eye that you developed and that beautiful story which helped it come to light. Family, Sister Sophia Stewart on the line. Get ready for part 2 as we get ready for Sister Gwen Mack. It's been a pleasure. Stay tuned next week with Brother Hamza Shikali Bey, taking it to another level. Hotep and Ashe.